Okay, Mom. Are you ready?
Ready. Okay, we are here again at Pine Hill Farm, the home of letters from an American farmer written in the late 1700s, about the time that our Constitution was being formed and ratified. Actually, Hector St lived here before the Constitution and settled this, before the Revolutionary War, and settled this farm. And Hector St. John, a man of letters, he wrote down what was going on in America at the time, and he extensively traveled America. And one of the things he said, which is moving, a lot of the things he wrote about are incredibly moving, and should be read by Americans so they can understand the beauty and the importance that America has on the world stage of human history. What Hector wrote about, you must understand, during the Enlightenment period, was not happening anywhere else in the world. And you know, some of his words, unjust laws, absurd laws everywhere afflict and depress mankind. That's what was going on. You know, there was no such thing as a middle class. Majority of people had no way of giving their children a better quality of life. And he wrote about the beauty of this society that was based on just laws. And at the time, the people that formed this country from the early 1700s, they came over here, they had to work together. There was no other way. You worked together. The British government couldn't really tax anything because there was nothing here. And did they form a beautiful society? Didn't matter what their languages were. Hector St. John wrote about this, and Letters from an American Farmer published it. One of the things that he wrote about, too, was the unjust laws and the effect that unjust laws have on the human condition, on the small guy, on the little guy, when they fear government. Here, he says, here we have regained the dignity of our species. Those words alone, and the beginning of our Constitution. We the people, it's not a king from on high. See, Hector St. John said, here we do not owe our allegiance. We do not owe our allegiance to a pope, a prince, or a king. We have regained the dignity of our species. You see, the first sentence of our Constitution guarantees that. We the people, this is not some monarch establishing a decree. This is the first time in history we the people are going to promote a more perfect union of people. This is why we here at Pine Hill Farm love the Constitution. We the people, in order to perform a perfect union and establish justice, and this is where I want to stop. I need to discuss this more. There's some things going on in the news today that are just bringing it to light, and all the stuff that's happening in America in the last 100 years or so are really bringing this to light, and how the Constitution and establishing justice has been subverted by liberal, leftist, utopian schemes. And lately, one of our Supreme Court justices has really intrigued me. Miss Ruth Bader Ginsberg has gotten it right when she tells the other countries, listen, you don't want our Constitution. And I say, Ruthie, that's exactly right. You know why? Because in every other part of the world, they practice these socialist schemes. You try to do it here. We're protected by that first sentence of the Constitution. Justice. In order to establish justice. Because these schemes, basically, to give to the government organization, they have to take. And so in the media today, you constantly hear the mantra about how we're going to count someone else's money. We're going to, have people feeling guilty if they're making money. Hey, that's the best thing you can do. What more could you do for society than to provide a service in the private sector where people voluntarily pay you in exchange for that service or good? How good is that? How much good is that? And you're investing when you do make money and you are a success. As a liberal even, you should say, you know what, my best thing is to protect just laws so that other people can have a chance and not be enslaved by these utopian schemes that want to take by force and then pretend to give. The other thing is unjust laws that we're living under. Okay, Ruth Bader Ginsberg, now that she acknowledges that the Constitution prohibits this kind of behavior, the people that have the laws have to be just in order to promote tranquility. See, now that she understands that, she ought to be able to reverse. She's in a position to reverse the effects of all these utopian schemes, from the Ponzi scheme of Social Security, absolutely unjust that anyone should have to participate in that. Complete Ponzi scheme, completely bankrupt. Ruthie, now that you've acknowledged the U.S. Constitution prohibits that, and it's not for other countries because other countries want to practice that, you are in a position to right the wrongs here and make sure that the Constitution is upheld here. And Ruthie, these tomatoes are heirloom tomatoes. Have you ever tried heirloom tomatoes? I'm sure you have tried heirloom tomatoes, and they are delicious. And I'll tell you what. By the way, Ruthie, we got that tractor fixed so we can give you a ride. Poppy was driving it around today, and it runs smooth. So, Ruthie, when you think about these government utopian schemes, I want you to think about heirloom tomatoes and make sure that you, if you're into the government utopian schemes, all of these schemes that establish government agencies, then what should we do? Maybe you should only eat those tomatoes that are created in the government schemes and not the ones that are created in the private sector. Boy, these are going to be some tasty tomatoes when they get ripe. And that's my rant for this evening. Constitution, letters from an American farmer, Hector St. John de Crevecoeur, Pine Hill Farm.